Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association, providing more than 41,000 jobs in the production of wood pallets, railroad ties, white oak barrels, hardwood floors, and more. Details at choosewood.com.
When Haley Woolbright began planning her wedding, she had an idea for a special surprise for her groom, a song written just for him and sung for him, too. Haley is a singer-songwriter. She released her first full-length album in 2019. Now, that was an album that was mostly about heartbreak. Here's a track from that. It's called Blue Eyes.
I saw you standing there outside that little cafe. Looked me in the eye and it took my breath away. Oh, blue eyes, your voice was so sweet. I may never see your face again, but you'll be my song on repeat. Blue eyes, you had me at hello. Blue eyes, do you really have to go?
And that song is Blue Eyes from singer-songwriter Haley Woolbright. Her album was about heartbreak. Well, then she fell in love. She had big plans to surprise her husband with a new song on their wedding day, but COVID had other ideas. And here to explain what happened next is Haley Woolbright. Haley, welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So, Haley, you were planning a wedding for September of 2020. So last March, a year ago at this time, were you thinking, oh, we've got plenty of time. There's no way this wedding is going to be canceled?
Oh, of course. Yeah, we hadn't even gotten Matthew's suit yet, any of the guys' suits. I mean, we were just we were ahead of the game at that point.
When did you start to realize, hey, we won't even be able to do this in September?
It was around May. Beginning of May is when I saw a lot of other people that were also getting married within the year kind of starting to question things and venues shutting down, and people talking. And it wasn't until middle of May where our venue actually called us and said, hey, we've got to postpone the rest of 2020 weddings.
So what did you decide to do at that point?
At that point, they had told us that they could not reschedule us until May of 2021. Which, side note, our reception at the venue is still happening then. We went ahead and rescheduled that. But as for getting married, we didn't want to wait another year. We wanted to be married, and we had just bought a house. And it was my parents that actually said, guys, what if a month from now we just had, parents and siblings and we just got you guys married in your backyard in your new house? Yeah.
So many young girls dream of having a big fancy wedding. I'm sure some boys dream about it too. Was it hard to give that up and go for the backyard celebration?
I think maybe for a split second, but it wasn't until it was really finalized that I honestly had so many people, reaching out saying, I cannot believe this is happening. I know, you're handling this so well. I would be such a mess. And I don't know what it was. I think I was just really excited to get to marry Matthew. I mean, that was always the main goal, right? It was to get married over the party and the day part of it. And so, I was just super excited to get married earlier than we had planned.
I got to move it up.
we moved it up 3 months, and I was like, hey, this is great. We can start our lives together even earlier. I had no problem with that. And we kind of get the best of both worlds, which most people don't get. I mean, it was such a nice day out. It was the middle of June. It could not have been more beautiful out. We live streamed it in the backyard, so everybody that couldn't go, we just had our parents and siblings there, could watch. It was so chill. I got to sleep in. I had some friends come over and help me get ready. And, it was so easygoing. There was no production to it, and then a few months from now we still get to have like our big party like everybody does, the big reception, and wear my dress and everything, so we kind of get the best of both worlds.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds perfect. I'm absolutely sold. Backyard weddings for both my daughters, whether they want it or not. But there's another part of this, and that's that you were going to write a song for this big September splash. When you moved things up, were you just out of time?
Oh, totally out of time. But also, I had the song written by that point because I started writing it in January. But because of the COVID restrictions, I physically could not get to the studio and record. They were shut down. We couldn't do that. And so production-wise, I couldn't finish it. And so it kind of just had me out of luck.
And so you ended up pushing the release all the way back until today. Why March 11th?
So it took, past June to really have those restrictions be able to where we could socially distance and record in the studio. We didn't even start really talking about it again until this past fall with my producer Chris Turnbaugh. And we did a lot of months in the fall of just pre-production and really waiting for restrictions to get a little looser and for other musicians to be okay with coming in. And as we were going, I think if I would have hurried up and gotten it by our wedding, I don't think it would be the song it is right now. I think because we had all these months to really sit on it, it has turned into something so much more than a gift for him, but it's also turned into this anthem love song for everybody. And the production-wise, we were just able to come up with more ideas. And so that's why I was like, you know what? We're already married. He already knows about it. I'm going to take my time and make this a good release.
So a good release. That's a great cue. Let's play the song you wrote for your husband, Matthew. This is called Long Game.
That red hair, yeah, it caught me from the start. Didn't even know your middle name, you had my heart. Started off slow, but who were we to thwart the magic? From that first kiss, I knew our love would be a classic. We knew I don't need no backup plan. I'm putting both feet in, trembling with your heart in my hand. When the whole world comes crashing down, I'll still be your bride at your side with 2 feet on the ground. Yeah, I'm in it for the long game. I'm here to stay. Yeah, I'm in it for the long game. So come what may, 'cause I'm all in.
And that is Long Game by Haley Woolbright. Haley is my guest here today. Haley, you talk in this song about the whole world crashing down. Was that inspired by the pandemic?
A little bit, yeah, because, I was during our engagement and writing this song, we were in our engagement, COVID happened and everything shut down and things couldn't go as planned. But also I was really just processing what it means to get married to someone and what that lifelong commitment is. And I started thinking about, COVID and how everybody had all these plans and no matter, there was nothing they could do about it. There were no exceptions for anybody. And I was like, you know what? Hopefully we have this really long, happy life together. But things are going to be out of our control, and I'm sure there are going to be seasons of life where our world comes crashing down a little bit. And I just want to tell him, no matter what, I'm still going to be here with you.
So do you think getting things started in this weirdly cocooned time where you end up spending so much time one-on-one with your partner, has that been good for your marriage or has that made things hard?
It's funny, we talk about this a lot because, we got married in June and then it was about July or August, I believe, we both got COVID.
Oh.
And so we legitimately were cocooned and isolated, actually. which was, interesting. And then, the first few months of our marriage, it was like nobody really saw us. It was very odd. And we both work from home as well. We've worked from home this whole year. And so we see a lot of each other, and I've talked about, I think in some circumstances, if there were newlyweds that were cocooned like that for their first year of marriage, it would be a little detrimental. But for some reason, it has been such a blessing. And we've had such a blast. We've had so much fun just like learning how to be around each other 24/7 and learn more about each other, learn how to give each other space. It's kind of forced us to I guess, confront things, learning, marriage is a learning curve, and it's kind of forced us to figure it out right away. So it's been such a blessing.
And did going through having COVID together, did that really hit home the in sickness and in health?
Yes, it did. We joked about that. That's the classic vows. And, he kind of got the good end of the straw a little bit. He didn't get it as bad as I did. I was definitely down and out for about a month, but he'd had to take care of me during that time. He had a sore throat. It was almost like he was asymptomatic, but I had a lot of the symptoms, and he very much right away kind of, showed he could step up as my husband and take care of me in that time.
Wow. I mean, that's a remarkable testament right there. So it feels like this affirmed for you chose the right guy.
Oh, 100%.
So
no doubts.
This song, this is such a fun song, and it's got such a great feel to it. Do you see this as part of an album?
I don't know. I think it definitely could. Right now, I am working on just writing new material. This, I feel like I've worked on it for a year and really only this. I would love to put out another album in the future, but for now, I really am taking it slow, and I would love just like over the next year to release, one song at a time and just focus on one song and make it a really good release. So right now, I think this is a great start to just having a one-off song. And who knows, maybe in the future, it could be a part of a larger work of that.
In our last minute here, I mentioned your previous album was mostly about heartbreak. In some ways, is it harder to write about happiness than sadness?
Yes, I've been asked that a lot, and it definitely is that there's a reason why this is the first song I've written for Matthew. Even when we were dating, I think it's so much easier for some reason to kind of process and vent through writing pain and heartbreak. But happiness, it was like, you're so caught up in it, you don't even want to write about it because you're just, you're focused in it. And so that's why the joke was, while we were dating and engaged, he would always come to my gigs and just silently sit there while I sing about all these other boys from the past and heartbreak. And, never complained about not having a song about himself. But it definitely was a lot harder to write this song. I had to be a lot more intentional, I think, because the feelings are different.
Well, he sat through all those songs. Now he has a song of his own. It's a great track. And Haley Woolbright, I want to thank you so much for joining us today to share it.
No, thank you so much, Sarah, for having me on. I am so thankful.
And we're going to go out of the show with a little more Long Game. More reporting from the St. Louis On the Air team is available at stlpublicradio.org. Never miss a conversation by subscribing to our podcast. You can find St. Louis On the Air on Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and Apple Podcasts on the App Store. St. Louis On the Air is a production of St. Louis Public Radio 90.7 KWMU. Thank you for listening. I'm Sarah Fensky.
Support comes from Missouri Forest Products Association, committed to sustainable and sound conservation of the state's forests, which support more than 41,000 Missouri jobs, resulting in a $10 billion industry. Choosewood.com.